Wait, what the fuck is this? No! This is how they split everyone up? They actually did this? Holy shit. I thought that was, like, far and away the most, like, silly and bizarre version of events. But no! They used the tests to lure them. Wow!
I'm curious, however, if this will line up with Chapter 4's events. I bet it won't. I bet it'll be somewhat different.
Oh, I'm sure it will be somewhat different, but I'm just like, I did not expect that. I thought the whole test thing was just a fucking gimmick, and we were going to have to ignore the whole thing wholesale. I didn't even consider that, yeah, that was what they used to purposely split people up. Whoa, a test? Whoa, what's this supposed to be? At this time of night? In this part of the country?
Localized entirely on Rokkenjima?
Starting now!
Test pranks starting now.
Battler yelled wildly into the receiver. When he said at this time of night, George and Jessica turned to look. According to the clock, it was past midnight. It might be a normal time It might be a normal time to be told to brush their teeth and go to bed, but he couldn't understand what this test thing was all about. Okay, I'll hand it over. Here you go, George Angie. It's my dad.
Hello, this is George speaking.
Hey, George Gun. Sorry to call so late. You weren't sleeping already, were you? You're all still up chatting away?
Pretty much. Maria-chan is sleeping. Oh, wait, it looks like she just woke up. So, what did you want to talk about? Battler-kun said something about a text.
Yeah, Dad can be such a pain sometimes. He suddenly came down from his room, a bunch of stuff happened, and by the end he was talking about which grandchild would make the best successor.
But isn't Uncle Kraus the successor?
Says the four of us aren't up to the job, so he's gonna skip us adults and choose one of you grandkids instead. All of a sudden, we're really kind of freaking out over here. Aniki and the others are all arguing about it across the room. They can hear Aniki shrieking in the background, huh?
Is that so? If that's what Grandfather says, then there's no way around it, I guess. In that case, what should we do?
He says he wants to call you out one by one, starting with Jessica-chan. Oh, wait a sec. Okay, you still there? Looks like you and Jessica-chan will be the first up to bat. Wants Jessica-chan to go to the parlor in the mansion, and you're supposed to go out in front of the chapel.
It's all so sudden, I hardly feel ready. What sort of test is it?
It's like Dad made some kind of crazy quiz. Some weird questions about what it means to be the head. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? The fucking Do You Love Me YN quiz? From Of course, a few things about this seemed off to George. However, Kinzo was famous for doing radical things on a whim. Even the strange test seemed plausible once he heard that it was a sudden idea of Kinzo's. But even so, if he wanted to test them one by one, why wouldn't he call them out one by one? Could have just had everyone wait in some reception room to be called one at a time. Why would two people be called to different places at the same time? Yeah, why the fuck did you do that? The plan didn't seem to make sense, and George felt he was missing something. No, I wonder why he wanted to meet in front of the chapel of all places. Expects a lot from you. I think he wants to talk to you alone. I'm not sure what about.
Grandfather wants to talk to me?
I wonder what he's got to say. I mean, you're the most talented of all his grandkids, right? He's probably something to tell you in particular, right? Anyway, that's what he says. Get over there right away. Supposed to go to the chapel too, so let's get this over with or we're both going to catch colds.
I see. Okay. Then I'll head toward the front of the chapel, and Jessica-chan will go to the parlor. Sure. I'll see you in a bit then.
What sort of test or private conversation could Kinzo possibly want to have at this time of night? And then again, it is a well-known fact that Kinzo doesn't have long to live. It wouldn't be so strange if he wanted to give some sort of will to each of his descendants individually. Inside George's mind, the faint feeling that something was wrong was replaced by a desire to meet Kinzo directly and hear about this in more detail. George set down the receiver and quickly explained to the others.
It's as you heard. Grandfather says he wants to give us all some kind of test.
Yeah, test. I don't test well.
After hiding in his study all these years, he suddenly decides to give us a test this late at night. Damn that old geezer. What's he thinking? It seems our parents feel the same way. It sounds as though they're very worked up about it.
Oh, well, I doubt getting worked up about it will change Grandfather's mind. Oh.
Exactly. We might as well accept it. It's Grandfather's order, after all. Let's obey it. To start, Jessica-chan and I are being called out. I'm going to the chapel. Jessica-chan's supposed to go to the parlor in the mansion.
What about Maria and me?
I think they'll contact you later. Wait here.
Ew, woo, 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 woo. Midnight test. What could it be? What could it be? What kind of test is it? A quiz? A puzzle? I'm really good at wolves and sheep puzzles. Ew, woo, 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 woo.
Woo!
Wow. And they're just casually making reference to all of these elements that show up in other game boards later on.
Yup.
Maria, who was now fully awake, seemed to be very excited about this unexpected midnight test. Well, then we'll just hang out here, I suppose.
Yes, okay, I'm going. It sounds like they're already waiting for us. So, he's making one of his grandkids the successor? Sounds great to me. Now I can let one of you guys deal with it.
Ew, woo, woo. I'm going to become the successor. I want to do it. Ew, woo, 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 woo.
No, having Maria as the successor wouldn't be so bad now, would it?
Really, I think that would be an absolute win.
I see this as an absolute win.
Bye. See you later. I will definitely see you later.
Mm-hmm.
At some later time in the future.
So
a thing that
wonder
I and
then,
you will both have.
because elements of this have shown up in different game boards, like the test and stuff, and calling them out for, like to test them for the successorship showed up in 4. The wolves and sheep showed up in earlier, right?
Yeah, that was 2.
That was 2. Is this the second message bottle then?
Maybe.
Is this the one that the Hashijo used to construct her forgeries? Rudolph put down the receiver and
It does have the interesting difference from all the other things that this one doesn't have any witches or magic.
Yep.
Just like the first one didn't have any witches or
The
magic.
first one didn't have any witches or magic either. Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's also like this establishes a bunch of things that would come up later in her forgeries for sure, like those the exams, Ava's capacity to kill from moment 1, right? Kyrie's disdain for Battler. Okay, guess I'm going to the spot in front of the chapel. Damn cold out there. Goda-san, have some coffee waiting for me when I get back, will you? Next to Rudolph, Goda was lying face up. His face was covered by a crossword puzzle book. However, its pages were stained with blood, and you didn't need to move the book to imagine how he had met his pitiful end. How was it? A nice script, don't you think? Yeah. Should be thanking Dad. If we just say it was him being fickle, no one's gonna doubt us. Then let's split up. I'll take care of Jessica-chan. You take care of George-kun. Yeah, you got it. Get this over with quickly so we can relax and have some coffee. There won't be any problems, yes? No sudden pangs of conscience? Kyrie smiled coldly. Probably would have been safer to call them out one by one and finish them off together. However, Kyrie had chosen to have her husband work separately. She wanted to measure Rudolph's resolve. She was the only one who got her hands dirty, and Rudolph just watched. His heart wouldn't be as dedicated to this venture. By having him dirty his own hands, she could make him truly determined to see this thing through. Kyrie understood this sort of mind game better than anyone else. Rudolph reflexively averted his gaze from the cold glint in her eyes, but then he just shrugged and answered her question. Of course. You have 1 billion yen riding on this after all. And I'm a man. I'm not going to miss a chance that will never come again in my lifetime. Plus, hasn't he already killed Goda at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I expected no less of you, Rudolph-san. I love people who can seize chances when they come. That's why I fell in love with you after all. Thanks, I'm glad.
I fell in love with you because I thought someday we'd do some murders together.
Yeah, that's very specific of you.
Rudolph-san.
What?
Say like that always, okay?
Huh? What'd you say?
Always remain the same Rudolph-san that I love. Alright?
Yeah, of course. When have I ever let you down? You've been worrying more about what kind of champagne we'll use to toast our victory.
I'll do that. Take care now. If you really treasure Battle-kun, don't kill George-kun in front of the chapel, okay? It'll be a pain if he finds the body.
Yeah, I know. I'll lure him away somehow. We'll be outside and it's raining. Should be some way to do it.
And you aren't a villain in some old western, got it? Don't grant any last requests or take down any final messages, okay?
Kyrie lifted up her gun again and ran the lever to eject the casing from the round she had killed Goda with.
Oh, she killed Goda.
Oh, she killed Goda.
Okay.
Also, aren't rounds like this... I don't super understand firearms, but like older ones that have like the gunpowder and stuff in them, right? Don't those also have the propensity to malfunction in the rain?
I'd believe it, yeah. Even some more modern weapons perform poorly in wet conditions, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah? Yeah? Eva was holding Hideyoshi's body and crying. She hadn't been shot at all. The bullet had grazed her head and missed. She hadn't been playing dead. She really thought that she'd been shot. When Kyrie's gun spat fire, Eva felt something fierce skim past her head before feeling lightheaded and fainting. That's why it sold it to Kyrie. Kyrie doesn't seem that unsavvy.
Mm-hmm.
If not for that one coincidence. Then she had woken in the now silent room of the gold. The remains of her beloved husband lay beside her, as well as Kraus, Natsuhi, and Rosa's corpses. It was a room of death, but with piled up bodies. When she had cried all she could over Hideyoshi's body, she realized that she still had something she needed to do. George is in danger. George! They're trying to use the bomb to blow up everything, to bury this whole island with an explosion incident.
Who would dare do that?
Right? Of course. As Eva had expected, the switch on the clock was set to the right, which meant that it was active. Eva moved to flip it to the left, and stopped. That's right. As long as the switch points to the right, everything that happens will disappear in this night of illusions. Yes, this is all an illusion. No matter what happens tonight, everything will become muddled and hidden away. They're probably going to kill everyone else. It has to be it, I'm sure of it! When she looked at the table with the box of bullets, she saw signs that they had been roughly grabbed in a bunch of bullets before leaving, and clearly showed that they planned to use that many bullets. I have to fight. Only to protect just the life of my precious son. The gun that I dropped when I was shot is stuck with the lever open. No matter how hard I pull, it won't open any further and it won't close again. Apparently a bullet has gotten jammed, breaking it. It's just as Kyrie said. Loading a bullet is tough if you aren't used to it. Please, dear, lend me your strength. Lend me your strength to protect George. In Hideyoshi's hand was Kraus's gun, which he had been trying to pick up. Eva took it, prayed to her husband one more time, and tugged on the lever handle. With a light metallic sound, the golden casing spun through the air and bounced off the ground. When she timidly tried to push the lever back, this time it returned to its original place without any resistance. There was another metallic clang. It was the sound of a new bullet being loaded. If they're showing us what actually happened in the cat box on Game Board 7, what the fuck is happening on the 8th?
I figured it'd be something like this. Someone scheming to show me the game that'd disgust me most, just to mock me.
In the game so far, various people had been suspected of being the culprit or an accomplice. The only difference now is that Rudolph and Kyrie were those suspects. However, to Angie, that was the most infuriating plot twist possible. Even Leon was full of painful thoughts. Solving the epitaph was supposed to be the only miracle that could lead to a game without a single victim, but ironically, the tragedy hadn't been averted, even so.
Does this mean we aren't allowed to have a future where we all happily return from this island alive? Even if the epitaph is miraculously solved before the crime occurs?
A miracle certainly will not occur.
A miracle certainly will not occur. Those words, which I had heard in one of the fragments Bernkastel had showed me, raced through my mind. Bernkastel, son, you showed me how wonderful my world was. I don't want to believe that you created this tale just to hurt Angie. By now, even I realize that you're the game master here. Please, tell me, why are you showing us this game?
Of course, no one answered Leon's muttered question. The game created to mock Angie continued emotionlessly, with more terrible twists that didn't betray anyone's expectations anymore.
Ha! Show whatever terrible game you like. You're trying to say that this is one of the endless possibilities inside the cat box, right?
I don't think that's what they're saying anymore.
Yep. Just do whatever you want. I won't let something like this get to me. Someday I'll find out the truth of what happened on October 5th, 1986.
And after meeting Kyrie in the parlor, Jessica was told that the test would be held in the dining hall. She followed Kyrie there.
Aunt Kyrie, there's no one here.
Hold on, sorry. Fresh beats. We haven't heard this one before. Comment section, you know what to do, please. He'll be here soon. Sit over there.
Time for awesome murder song number 127.
God, this game has so many awesome murder songs. Jessica sat in the chair she had been offered, looking nervous and agitated. Kyrie was by far the calmer of the two. Kyrie closed the door behind her, revealing the gun that rested behind it. Jessica was facing the other way, so she saw nothing.
Did you hear anything about this, Aunt Kyrie? Like, what kind of test this is?
Yes. It'll be over soon.
I sure hope so.
And they always have like a scene between these two meeting as well. Yeah. As she complains, Jessica turned right around, and the tip of her nose bumped into cold metal.
Huh? It's a test of how bulletproof you are. Uncle Rudolph, what are you doing?
Nah, guess shooting people in the back just isn't for me after all.
Hey, that was dangerous. What on earth are you doing?
Come on, why else would someone point a gun and pull the trigger? Rudolph reloaded rapidly and pulled the trigger again without any sign of hesitation. As the sound of gunfire thundered through the rain, George grabbed at his side and fell to his knees. That's weird. It really does shoot low. This gun's really got it bad, huh?
Somebody help me. Uncle Rudolph is...
George started stumbling away, still clutching at his side. His voice as he called for help was weak and thin. In comparison, Rudolph, who stood behind him, looked perfectly calm as he fiddled with his gun and checked his sights.
It hurts. It hurts.
That's all right, George. I don't know how to tell you this, but you're the one person I can kill, and no one will find me guilty. It felt to George as though something had been gouged into his side, so painful that he could barely stand and walk. He leaned against the trunk of a tree. As he crouched down trying to cover his wound, he was no longer able to stand back up. George didn't have a clue what was going on. However, he had felt as though something was wrong this whole time. Of course, it was strange that he'd been called out all alone to a place like this at a time like this. And yet, how could he have known that something was wrong? After all, his own uncle had told him that his grandfather was asking him to join the family conference. How could he have suspected that? Sorry about this, George Gunn. It hurts, doesn't it? If I knew it'd come to this, I would have been kinder to blow your brains out from behind. That'd be too cruel to finish it off before I knew what hit you, but looks like I got it backwards.
Why, Uncle Rudolph? Why would my kind uncle do this?
Forget about this. By tomorrow night, all of it won't have happened. With a quick use of the lever handle, he loaded another bullet. The casing of the bullet had pierced George's side and fell heartlessly in front of him. So that's 2. Everyone's going to die in a sudden, unfortunate accident. At that moment, we'll all be a big, happy family. That's how it's going to be. So don't worry about this. Forget it all. Of course, George didn't have a clue what Rudolph was talking about. And Eva, they're right in front of the chapel. So Ava's going to see Rudolph.
Ooh.
Yep. All he knew is that Rudolph wanted to kill him and that he showed no trace of hesitation. His image of Rudolph as the ideal, cool, joke-loving adult didn't match up with the man standing in front of him holding a gun. No, maybe this feels wrong because it fits him too well. He has that same smile as though he's about to tell some hilarious joke, but he's pointing a gun at me. Oh, shit. Go for it.
Why would that kind, funny Uncle Rudolph do this?
It made him feel unimaginably sad, and tears flowed from his eyes.
Uncle Rudolph, I admired you so much.
Haven't I always told you, George Good? Make sure you don't end up as an adult like me. Now you see why. In the next world, make learning how to spot villains your first priority. I know you can do it. After all, it's just another kind of studying. He bit down the pain in his side. With the last of his strength, George threw his whole body into a roundhouse kick. Same time, fire spat from Rudolph's gun. Bullet pierced George's chest. George spun around as he fell amidst an outpouring of blood. He moaned wordlessly, clenching blood-stained teeth. A frigid gun was pressed hastily against his temple. So long. Become a great man of the next world. Don't get blinded by money like me.
I can't believe that my uncle would kill for money.
Dude, you've taken like 4 bullets to kill George.
Ugh.
You're so innocent. People can kill. Over money. The ruthless trigger forestalled any further questions. George's hands, which had been covering his wound, dropped lifelessly. When Rudolph saw the last glimmer of life leave him, he sighed deeply and looked tired. That was easier than I thought. Rudolph looked up into the dark, rainy sky, the rain of drops hitting him full in the face, and laughed with an indescribable expression, his tongue hanging out. I honestly thought my conscience would bug me more. Now that it's over, it was all pretty easy, wasn't it? Rudolph laughed. This was probably just the thing Kyrie had hoped for. It had taken considerable effort to kill George. He had been merciless, but at last traces of conscience in Rudolph's heart had probably slowed him down. However, now that he had killed someone with his own hands, a turning point that few people ever reach, Rudolph had finally awakened. He had finally understood. It's just like squeezing dough out of a bunch of morons, huh? The same old game of musical chairs. There's a pile of money in front of you. The first one to reach it wins. so the ones just get kicked down to hell. Haven't I driven dozens of poor fools into debt with my earlier swindles? Several of those probably ended up bankrupt, and some of those might even hung themselves. And I always laughed like it was none of my business. And that's all there is to it. The only difference now is that for the first time, I dealt the final blow with my own hands. Thanks, Kyrie. You always were the best at cutting away my naivete. Rudolph's evil laugh rang out. The laugh was so purely evil it was almost soothing. Hypocritical evil that still contains some pangs of conscience is far more repulsive to behold. If a man's committed to doing great evil anyway, how much more pleasant and gallant it is when he's wholly devoted to his goal. In that sense, Rudolph's evil smile and laugh were pleasant and gallant indeed. Which means the brutal bloody stage of the dining hall must have been soothing as well. Eva absolutely saw or heard him. Absolutely heard him, and then we'll find George there. A clang, a thud, a crack, a squish. A strange mixture of these sounds kept repeating over and over at the same tempo. Each time a red splash landed on the tablecloth dangling nearby. Jessica-chan, can you hear me? Kyrie asked this with the sort of smile any aunt might make to her niece. However, Jessica didn't answer. There's nothing particularly surprising about this. After all, by now, her nose had been broken, her eyes had been smashed, her teeth had been knocked out, and not only her nose, but her entire face was now hardly recognizable as a face, just a lump of bloody flesh. Kyrie finally stopped her task of repeatedly smashing Jessica's face with the stock of her gun. Still sitting on top of Jessica, she tossed her gun to the side, pulled a compact out of her pocket, and looked at her own face in the mirror. Then finally, she realized that her face was covered by speckles of fresh blood. How terrible. His clothes will have to go too. With a muffled laugh, Kyrie shakily rose to her feet. Jessica wasn't moving anymore. She had been convulsing a bit until a second ago, but now she was still at... She didn't even use the gun to shoot her! This isn't even about, like, just ruthless efficiency. This is about, like, sadism now.
Kyrie playing the long con to get Rudolph to kill his family with her.
Kill your family. Kill your family. Smashing a woman's face is nothing new to your aunt, all right?
Oh!
Sorry about that. If you hadn't resisted, I could have given you a much cleaner death. Kyrie pulled the tablecloth off and used it like a towel to wipe the blood from all over her body. However, instead of taking the blood off, it just smeared it around and did nothing to remove the stench of blood and death that covered her. She got tired of rubbing the tablecloth against the blood. Kyrie walked over to the extension line telephone in the corner of the room. She dialed the number for the cousin room in the guest house. Hello, it's me. It's your turn now, Battle-kun. Go to the spot in front of the chapel, please. Yes, that's right. I haven't been given any instructions from Maria-chan. Have her wait there, all right? Yes, keep your wits about you. I'm rooting for you to be chosen as a successor, Battle-kun. With the same smile as usual and the partly wiped splashes of blood still covering her face, Kyrie finished her call to Battler. When she sat down the receiver, there was a small knock and Rudolph came back into the room. Hey, you look like shit. Jessica-chan has better reflexes than I gave her credit for. I didn't think she'd be able to fight back from a situation like that. Bit of a shame she had to end up looking like this. What a waste of a good not-so-he-ask woman. How about your end? Did he give you much trouble? No problems there. Plain and simple. When Kyrie had heard Rudolph's instant response, she favored him with an evil smile. Yes, the man she loved was the sort who could do it if he tried, without letting the cheap emotions get in the way. I love you, Rudolph-san. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's hard to imagine an easier job to net you billion yen. Like Dad always said, the life of every man there comes one day when he has to be willing to kill. In other words, always be determined to survive, even if you have to kill to do it. It's my favorite line of his. Well, what's next? My rifle's hungry for blood. You've got a big job coming up, convincing Battler-kun. That's right. That'll be a pain. But I don't have to end it by pulling the trigger. I really enjoyed life as a three-person family with Angie. But if you really want Battler-kun to join in on that, give it your best. Sure. I'll make sure we don't have any complaints from him. Don't worry, I worked out a scenario to trick him good. Good luck. Even I hope that Angie's beloved big brother doesn't get caught up in the explosion accident. I'm looking over where the camera would be if this was a fourth wall here. I know. And then I'll head back to the chapel. Rudolph-san? What? If you can't convince Battler-kun. I know. If that happens, bang. Battler-kun is independent enough that he left the family out of protest when I married you, remember? If you can only convince him halfway, then things get nasty later on. He'll prove fatal to us. I know. Believe in me. And if I decide that Badalakun is growing suspicious, I'll kill him myself. He's not my kid after all. Yeah, I know. So promise me one thing, Kyrie. What's that? If I can trick Battler, the three of us make it off this island. If that happens, then what? Never say that Battler isn't your kid again. After all, you're... No! My whole fucking cradle swap thing was actually right?
I don't know. The game's been pretty clear of saying that there's multiple senses that someone can be someone's mother. So
I guess,
let's see how the sentence ends.
After all, you're his mother. Please. Sure, I promise. Kyrie shrugged and answered as she loaded bullets. You go to the chapel. I'll wait until Badalakun has left. Clean up everything inside the guest house. You sure you'll be okay doing that alone? That's my line. Battler left the guest house under an umbrella. He had been called to the area in front of the chapel, just like George had been. Not even 30 minutes had passed since the time George and Jessica had been called out. Apparently this test didn't last too long. Oh, damn geezer. First you never come out, not even for lunch. You show up in the middle of the night with a test. But living as a shut-in's got his sense of day and night all backwards. Yeah. Complaining all the way, Battler strolled off into the rain. Almost immediately, he was swallowed up by the darkness of the rose garden and passed out of sight. And then, Kyrie could be seen coming out of the darkness of the rose garden.
Wow.
Her right hand held a gun. Her left an umbrella. Her inner pocket contained the master key ring she had stolen from Goda. Her right pocket had a handful of bullets. Her left held a knife she had taken from the kitchen. She was carefully and perfectly outfitted for murder. And the bolt of lightning struck down from the swirling skies, lit up only half of Kyrie's face. Her cheek was still covered with Jessica's blood. Under the eaves, Kyrie folded up her umbrella, smiled, and spoke to no one. Hey everyone, I'm home. It's really fascinating because in showing Eva to us as the one confirmed person who definitely murdered some folks, right, over the course of the initial game boards, the game does a very good job of obfuscating like who the other people with murderous intent are. Because you start thinking about like how can I fit the other murders into Eva and Hideyoshi maybe coming in with murderous intent, right?
Here's the thing that gets me. We were immediately, or at least I was, immediately sus of Kyrie.
Yeah.
And we were trying to reason out a reason to be, and we were right all along, but not for the right reasons.
It's good. It's good. Rudolph could be seen under the eaves of the chapel. He had hidden his gun in nearby shadows and was now smoking a cigarette. Could be easy to trick that dimwit. If it doesn't work, that's just too bad. He glanced over at the place he had stowed his gun. The cigarette smoke began to pleasantly cloud his mind. Battler isn't a kid anymore. He's an adult who can choose his path through life as he pleases. When animals grow up, it's normal for them to form a group and go on a journey. Humans are the only ones that keep treating their young kids even after they get big. And to come to this, I would have never begged for you to come back. Damn it! Damn it, Rudy! I regret dragging you back into the family. He puffed out those words along with the smoke. When Battler came, he didn't intend to voice those regrets of his. Rudolph was already determined to play the part of the evil murderer who kills for money. He's still not here. It's taken him so long. At that moment, he heard the sound of someone stepping on gravel. He looked up thinking that Battler had finally arrived, but the sound had come from the direction opposite of the mansion. Oh, shit. Rudolph? How could you? How could you do that to my son? Hey, Anarchy, what's up? So, you're alive, looking good. Sorry that I'm alive. Too bad. But my husband wasn't so lucky. How could you? How could you? Within a face obscured by anger and tears, Eva slowly walked closer, her gun raised. Her husband had been killed right in front of her. She probably wouldn't even hesitate. Realizing that a gun quivering with anger was pointed right at his chest, Rudolph backed away. As he pretended to retreat, he approached the gun he had hidden in the shadows. Calm down, Anarchy. Put the gun down. I never wanted that to happen. Everything happened so fast. There's nothing I could do. How can you tell such half-baked lies? As Eva had said, it really had been a half-baked, pointless thing to say. Rudolph would have said anything if he thought it would have calmed Eva's emotions before she pulled the trigger, which she now looked capable of doing at any moment. And then Rudolph's foot came in contact with his gun. Let's just talk this over, all right? George Good should be here soon. Oh. Hey, George Good. We're over here. Rudolph waved as though George was coming from behind Eva. Let Ava's attention turn in that direction. Idiot. My simple big sister's always been a sucker. Die! Gunfire. Then a bit later, the sound of something heavier than rain dropping onto the cobblestone. Ah! Rudolph. I've always been able to see through your tricks. The bullet Eva fired went straight into Rudolph's chest. The bullet Rudolph fired at Eva missed, landing near her feet. Because his gun keeps tending down. Remember?
Yep.
Yes, I was right. This gun does shoot low. He dropped the gun into a puddle with a splash, staggered backwards, and leaned against the wall of the chapel. That's not it. All good westerns end with the bad guy's bullet missing, huh? Eva dashed up to him, kicked away the gun that had been fallen into a puddle, and grabbed Rudolph by the collar. What about George? Where is he? I won't let you kill him. Sorry, Anarchy. Already got him. You liar! He did it in the bushes over there. Go take a look. You'll see soon. Rudolph, Eva, who claimed to know all of her little brother's tricks, also knew that Rudolph's final words, as his consciousness began to fade thanks to the bullet wound, were not a lie. How could you? George! An empty shell casing bounced off the cobblestone. The furious gun barrel was pressed against Rudolph's forehead. Go ahead and shoot. I doubt it'll bring you much peace, though. A bolt of lightning turned everything white. However, the wall of the chapel was stained blood red. A red splash like a crushed tomato came out from the back of Rudolph's head and covered the wall. Then, leaving a red trail behind him, Rudolph sagged downwards, sat on the ground, and fell over. George! Eva dashed off toward the bushes. She found George's corpse almost immediately, screamed, and broke down sobbing. Rudolph's bloody corpse was exposed to the rain that ran off the eaves. His eyes were still wide open. A fist-sized, flesh-covered hole was open in the back of his head, and his insides were exposed to the open air. Inside was a mixed jelly of flesh, brains, and spinal fluid. That goop, which looked like someone had mixed up with a spoon, dripped from his eyes, nose, ears, mouth, and the hole in his head.
Dad!
Angie clutched at her head, sobbing and moaning. Her father had dirtied his hands with murder over money, and on top of that he had faced such a cruel end, and Angie had been forced to see his corpse. It's hard to imagine a more painful experience for a daughter to go through.
I'm totally fed up with this. It's completely meaningless. Bernkastel-san, I know you're here somewhere. Please, make this game stop. There's no point to it.
As if in answer to that yell, a black shadow appeared a few seats in front of them.
I can't believe we called Bernkastel hanging out in the theater.
Yep. Or perhaps she was sitting there the whole time. Maybe we just couldn't see her until we were aware of her. Oh, yeah,
It was, without a doubt, the back of Bernkastel's head. Bernkastel-san.
Pipe down back there. Can't you all just watch the show quietly? The witch turned around with bored eyes.
As though the two people yelling were the strange ones.
Sorry.
Please stop this. We realize that this is the sealed Catbox world of October 4th and 5th. The games are like messages, or maybe more like a roundabout love letter. A single message can be conveyed over several games, but now we understand. We know that endless tales can seep out of the sealed 2-day Catbox. And beyond that, I even know the culprit and the motive. That has already been revealed, and it doesn't even have anything to do with this game. We both know the answer, that this is a Catbox tale, so there shouldn't be any need for any further games. If this is supposed to be a game between you and us, then we already know the answer. The game should be over. Just shut up already. Didn't you hear Byrne tell you to be quiet?
Another shadow appeared in the next seat over, turned around and scolded the pair.
I can't enjoy my popcorn when you're being loud.
Oh, hey, popcorn. Can I have some of that? I'm really
No.
Why? Fuck you, I guess. There is a point. If you just watch, you'll see it.
Are you the game master?
Not at all.
Then who is it? Could it be Claire?
There is no game master. That's what it is, right? If you watch, you'll see. Not much longer now.
The tragedy has already reached its climax. Who will survive, I wonder? Woo!
Very pop and cute.
Bernkastel isn't the game master. Then who is? Could Claire have created this cruel tale? Or are there even more witches playing around with this cat box?
The guest house was wrapped in silence. There were no sounds, no trace of anyone's presence, no breathing from anyone alive. There wasn't anything to be heard anymore. If anything could be heard, it was the sound of the murderer's feet stepping across the floor.
Which murderer?
Who do we think it was? Yeah.
No, it's just like there's a bunch of them wandering around. Well, not anymore. Only two now.
Kyrie, we were told Kyrie was headed to the guest house.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
It's just like, oh, the sound of the murderer.
Yeah.
Like, which one? It's the Ushiromias, and you've got a pretty long list of murderers now.
True. Kyrie slowly passed through the lounge. In her right hand was a gun. In her left hand was a knife. The knife was stained with blood, and some was still dripping from the tip, leaving behind red tracks like a demon's footprints. Her hands were filled with tools of murder, so she wasn't capable of doing anything but murder. In that sense, at that moment, she was clearly and purely a murderer. The murderer went to the entrance hall, and then only after reaching the front door looked down to see two blood-stained hands of a killer. His hands gripped the tools of death that had performed a cruel massacre. And then at last the murderer realized that it wouldn't even be possible to open the door like this, and tossed aside the knife. The murderer reached out to the door, turned around calmly, and spoke. "Sorry, everyone, but don't worry. A few days later, the newspapers will be talking about an unfortunate accident. And I'm sure the news, shows, the papers, and rumor mongers everywhere will be sure that you spent your time in happy ignorance until the instant of the accident. In other words, you'll all have had a good time until midnight on October 5th. So said the one who had stained that bloody guest house red. At this hour, the cousins are all staying up late and playing around. And the servants who have to get up early are all snoring. The ones on the late shift are probably filling in the log or taking a break about now. That is how it is. From where I am now, I can hear laughter coming from the cousin room. Humans outside the cat box would probably never understand what Kyrie was saying. Only she, shut inside the cat box of the explosion accident, could know what it really meant. Outside, the rain poured down heavily. Kyrie almost picked up an umbrella, but then stopped suddenly as if she just thought of something. Then she started walking out into the rain, not caring at all whether she got wet or not. Did the murderer not want an umbrella to get in the way of her gun? Or was she hoping that the rain would act as a shower to get the blood off of her? Kyrie stopped walking, as though something unexpected had caught her attention. However, this time it was no whim of hers. "Oh, could you kill my husband?" "Oh, Eva-san, that's surprising. How could I have missed you from that distance?" "I'm just that surprised. I didn't think I'd survive." "You came here from the underground stairway behind the chapel, right?" "Oh, no. In that case..." "That's right. I bumped into Rudolph in front of the chapel." "And how was he doing?" "Oh, just wonderful. We managed to have a friendly sibling chat for the first time in a while." "I see. He's such a show-off, but so unreliable in a tight spot. So you can't do anything without me after all." After that short exchange of words, Kyrie already knew that Rudolph had been killed. However, no trace of urgency or panic rose to her face. She just closed her eyes with her usual unconcerned expression. When she opened them again, she had regained her composed smile. "Thank you. I'm grateful. This way I really can have everything to myself." What's that blood on your clothes? You just came out of the guest house, didn't you? Don't tell me." "Yes, that's right. I'm right in the middle of a murder case at the moment." "You killed them? All of them? Even Maria-chan?" "There was no need to let them live until morning. When morning came, there would be an uproar, and that would be a pain. They might have used a radio to contact someone off the island and gotten help. So this was clearly the optimal move to make. if you spin the chessboard around and look at it that way, right? You monster! I can't believe you would be so blinded by greed that you'd commit murder. You weren't doing so bad yourself. That was an accident. I didn't mean to kill them. Unlike you. No, just like me. If that gun hadn't gone off, you would have kept on arguing and jumping at each other, and then the rest of you would have eventually reached the same answer as me, just a few steps slower. I'm not a murderer. Not true. You're just a murderer who didn't get a chance. You've just been saved by that accidental discharge. If it weren't for that bit of good luck, and I hadn't moved before you did, then you would have played the same role I'm playing now. That fact won't go away, no matter how much you try to deny it. It's the truth of a different future. Don't try to confuse me! However, on the inside, Eva understood. Back then, she had probably been saved by that accidental discharge by a coincidence. So it was. I thought she was just trying to play it off, but apparently the game is like, no, it was an accidental discharge.
At the same time, an accidental discharge while you are holding a gun pointed at someone with your finger on the trigger.
It's not like you had no
how
agency.
Accidental it is.
Right? It's not like you had zero agency in this.
Yeah.
If the argument had continued much longer, she would surely have grown a desire to kill Kraus and the others, and might have even carried it out. She simply could not deny the existence of that demon deep within her heart. Only the theater-goers knew. They knew that she could become a killer in another world. Kyrie, who didn't have the theater-going ability, knew this fact as well. Maybe there really was something extraordinary about her after all. So for some time, Eva could only grind her teeth in silence, still pointing her gun. I don't understand. You're also a mother. You felt the pain of giving birth to your own child. How can you not know how precious a life is? Are you really capable of doing all this? And that's the thing about kids. You just sleep around. They get made all by themselves. That's not what I'm talking about. They say that children are bonds, right? What? Children are bonds used to tie you to your husband. She was a bond to make Rudolph's-san acknowledge me, so I could take him back from that woman. You've killed Rudolph-san now. You understand what that means, right? What do you mean? I understand. Just that right now, I'm the wife of no man, and I have no intention of being a mother. I am me, Kyrie. Now that Rudolph-san is dead, I'm not even Ushiromiya. I'm not even an Ushiromiya anymore. I live to benefit me. Right? Rudolph is dead, so maybe you aren't a wife anymore, but you still have Angie-chan, don't you? You're still a mother, aren't you? Didn't you just hear what I said about bonds? Now that Rudolph-san is gone, Angie is of no use to me. You... How can any mother say that about her own daughter? Eva-ne-san, let's put a stop to this. We can be honest here, you and I. Honest? Did either of us marry because we wanted children? We didn't, right? We married because we wanted to live with the man we loved. And once you're married, you never want to let that man go for the rest of your life, correct? Children are just weapons to be used for that goal. I'd never have children for a reason like that. But people can have children just for that reason. Kyrie kept on speaking emotionlessly, ignoring the falling rain. Her relaxed smile didn't falter for an instant. Angie was just a chain I used to tie Rudolph's onto me. Or you could call her a chess piece. Someone to play the role of the kid in our family drama. To me, Angie was nothing more than a piece, necessary so that I could act the part of a good mother in front of Rudolph's-san. You... Could you say that to Angie-chan's face? That would just be a bit too sad, so... I won't say it to her directly. I plan to write her a letter asking her to forgive her bad mother, and then vanish from her life. You've seen what Rosa-san and Maria-chan are like, right? Now that Rudolph-san is gone, Angie-chan is just a chain tying me down. I'll go back to being just Kyrie, and enjoy the rest of my life at my leisure. A new challenge, and a new life. And maybe even a new love. And you call yourself human. You call yourself Angie-chan's mother. Who gives a damn about Angie? I never liked that little brat. How can you? You've been released from your family drama too, haven't you? Let's sing the praises of a woman's freedom. You should thank me for having George Kun killed for you too. You monster! The two yells and the sound of gunfire thundered across the dark rose garden. Slowly, Eva fell backwards. Then she landed in a puddle, scattering countless drops of water. Across from her, Kyrie spun around as though dancing. Beautiful, black rose petals scattered around her. The petals were a dark, dark red. As they sprayed from her throat, she spun around in a circle and slowly crumpled. And then she fell to the ground, sending muddy water flying. The two women had shot and fallen. Over when the thunder roared, only Eva sat back up. Man, Eva, you are having a day.
Ava's side of the family has specced into bullet resistance, clearly.
Clearly.
It took several for George. It's taken several for Ava. It hasn't
She's
even worked.
min-maxed in evasion. If she gets hit, if she... Let's see. Eva had been shot. Kyrie instantly had made her fall backwards. Kyrie's intensity had made her fall backwards, but the bullet had once again slipped right past her. Eva cursed her good luck. Why couldn't this luck have saved her husband or her son? Die there. For Angie-chan's sake as well. He'll be killed in the explosion accident. Until the moment of your death, you worried about the daughter you left behind. Yeah. That's what I'll write into the lid of that cat box. When Kyrie heard this, blood dripped from her grinning mouth, and she seemed to say something in response. However, her voice only came out as gobs of blood from the hole in her throat, not words.
Mom. It's a lie. It's all a lie. Angie, please, calm down. This is just a game. That couldn't possibly be what your mother truly feels. It's just something that the game master made Aunt Kyrie's piece say.
But saying that did nothing to calm Angie's sobs.
I don't blame her.
Shit.
Even if she knows it's just a game, she's been forced to see not only her mother's death, but also her mother announcing that she was the culprit of a mass murder, who didn't even love her own daughter. Anyone would sob after hearing that. Bernkastel-san, enough of this. I don't care who the game master is. Stop this pointless game right now.
Well, Leo...
This keeps switching back and forth, and it's really inconvenient.
It is.
When I, Leon, yelled this, the theater suddenly went pitch black, swallowed in darkness. However, that wasn't enough to shock me, Leon. Leon continued to yell Bernkastel's name into the darkness, telling the witch to stop this game. Then a single beam of light shone down upon the stage. There was Claire, the one who had appeared for just a second right before this cruel game began. Claire, so you were the game master after all? I don't get it. Why? Claire didn't answer. In fact, it looked as though she hadn't even heard. Her eyes were blank, and you couldn't tell what she was looking at. In fact, she was even forgetting to blink. She looked just like a doll. Then another beam of light lit up the side of the stage. Beneath that light stood Bernkastel.
Found my popcorn.
At the same moment, though there appeared to be no one in the audience, a thunderous applause rang out.
Thank you.
Bernkastel raised her right hand in response to the applause. She kept doing so until it died down. Bernkastel-san, so you were the master of this game after all.
Leon, how many times do I have to tell you that I'm not the game master?
Then are you saying it's Claire? That's impossible.
Yep, of course it's impossible. After all, Claire died. We were just conducting her funeral. Did you forget that?
Then just who is standing there?
A corpse. She's not a mannequin. So of course she still has her insides. She's hiding it under a beautiful exterior, but she's actually packed full of guts.
When Bernkastel raised her right hand, a light fell on it, and a black, shining scythe appeared there. It was a cold, merciless, and cruel object, like something a classic Grim Reaper might hold. What are you planning to do?
When they're alive, you can enjoy watching them struggle. When they're dead, you can enjoy tearing out their guts. Tales are things you get to enjoy twice. That's what it means to be a witch of theater going. You get to enjoy it, and then you get to tear out its guts by overanalyzing it.
Yep. Bernkastel is just the moe anthropomorphization of TV tropes.
Fuck! I hate that sentence. Fuck you, actually. I took psychic damage from that.
Bernkastel pressed the blade of her Reaper's scythe against Claire's stomach and slowly slid it across. Then along the line she traced, Claire's dress was sliced open. It was now clear that the scythe she held was not a fake one for theatrical use. And it was clear just what she planned to do next that made her cruel smile so fitting.
Angie, can you hear me?
I hear you. You tear me to bits, make me read. What's next? Are you showing me this worst possible tale to hurt me even more? Is this fun for you? Yeah, I'll bet it is. I had a blast too. You think that I'd give up after that? You think I'll sit around crying any longer because of that disgusting game of yours?
Both you and Leon seem to have the wrong idea. I'm not the game master. This tale is not one that I created.
Then that woman in the dress is the game master. No, she isn't. That can't be. Then who is the game master? Who wove this disgusting tale?
You still don't understand.
What don't we understand?
Angie, you gambled everything on a faint chance of a miracle, throwing yourself forward. I invited you to October 4th and 5th of 1986 out of respect for your courage. What was your goal? To take your family back? That would be a very difficult thing, and without the blessing of a miracle, a thoroughly impossible one. You were prepared for that, weren't you?
Yes, I'm prepared. And I still haven't given up on Oni-chan, Mom and Dad.
Whether you give up or not is your choice. That's your own game, after all. I won't support you and I won't even watch. I've already enjoyed my fill of games that use the piece you are, so I have no need for you any longer.
Glad to hear it. Then why am I here? Aren't you the one who invited me?
Yeah, that's right. I invited you here to thank you for entertaining me for a while as my piece.
To thank me? So this is how witches show gratitude? Sure, this has been loads of fun, you beast. How could you make this kind of game and do that to Dad and Mom?
Angie, you made a wish hoping to take your family back. However, you also made another wish. Remember?
No, I don't.
You wanted to know what happened on that day.
What happened on Rokkenjima on October...
I mean, like, we knew, but like, I think as soon as Eva stood back up, there was no more doubt.
Yeah. What happened on Rokkenjima on October 4th and 5th, 1986? Didn't Angie leave on her journey with Amakusa because she longed to answer that question?
Yo!
That's right. So what's your point? You don't mean...
Leon
realized what Bernkastel was getting at. Realized and was unable to say any more. The Game Master is neither Bernkastel nor Claire. Then who is it? That's the wrong question. There is no Game Master. That could mean only one thing.
Angie, you still don't understand, do you?
What?
This is the truth. The insides of the cat box of October 4th and 5th, 1986. Afterwards, Eva survived the explosion by escaping to Kuwadorian. And since she never spoke of the inside of the cat box, no matter how much she wanted to know, that truth was shut within the cat box for all eternity. And then that's why we get the scene of Battler wandering around an island full of corpses at the end of EP4. Or like that moment, like during the stage play opening where everyone falls dead around him. It's why every game has the moment where Battler has to be left all alone trying to figure out what's happened here. He's the only one, because by the time he reaches the chapel, Rudolph is dead and Ava's long gone.
Yep. And on top of this, the fact that it's a switch mechanism as well even makes the who am I riddle really simple Even if you aren't going to take the jump that, oh, it means who figuratively because it's an inhuman object.
Right.
It's whoever flipped the switch.
Yep.
And in that case, that makes it Kyrie.
Yep.
What are you saying?
Only Eva returned alive. Even the police claimed it was an accident. The public didn't believe it. Then she took over her husband's company, and harder she worked to make it more and more successful, the more enemies she made. A public image of her as a great queen of conspiracy grew stronger and stronger. I'm sure she wanted to tell people the truth. The truth that no one would ever believe without proof. Bit by bit, Ava's heart began to snap. You rejected Eva, so she rejected you in turn. The relationship between the last two members of your family was strained to the limit. Each time she compared you with her beloved son, she grew more and more twisted and broken. And then a strange message bottle was picked up and became a topic of conversation. It contained a bizarre story, one that told of a mysterious serial murder connected to Rokkenjima's gold. Everyone rejected the explosion accident theory and started to think up conspiracy theories. Some of those theories named Eva as the culprit, which tormented her even more. However, Eva used even that to build up the cat box. And until the moment of her death, she protected it. She protected the lock that held the cat box shut, so no human would ever reach the truth inside of that cat box, not unless the witches who crossed the sea of fragments opened the lock. This is the truth.
You're lying. You're lying. Lying. If this really is the truth, you should be able to say so in red. There's no way you can. Of course there isn't. Angie, calm down. Angie writhed with such strength that the chains on her arms and legs looked like they might snap. All over her body, a red, gooey liquid started to seep out.
And now,
it was as though cracks had opened up all over her and blood was leaking out of all of them.
what's that? You want me to announce it clearly with the red truth? Then I'll say it just for you. That this is all true.
No! Angie's yell covered up Burn's red truth.
Stupid kid. If only you hadn't made me say that, you could have shut it up inside the cat box. But you just had to ask, right? I knew you would, of course. And so I wanted to see you scream like that. A lovely expression like that should keep me laughing for about 100 years. Go back to being scrap meat.
Mom, Dad, it's a lie, right? Lies. Angie. As Angie held her head and screamed, the blood dripping from her finally grew so thick that it started scattering all over the place. Then bit by bit, her body began to to fall apart. Then bits of her began to pile up on the chair until she was nothing but a pile of guts and scraps.
So, which do we think was the one that happened? Death by skyscraper or death by firing squad on the island?
Oh.
Is the truth really even that sacred? How absurd. How foolish. Why can't humans control their own truth? They stupidly search for the truth like that's all that matters. And when they finally find it and can't stand it, then they turn themselves into scrap meat. Hey, are you watching? Claire? You wanted to hide this truth too, didn't you? For fun, you wrote several cat box tales and planned to seal them in message bottles like the end of a mystery novel you loved. And you threw them into the sea to save those who would suffer if they knew this truth. You sealed everything in a cat box, and Eva provided the lock. And I've sliced that box open for you. All that effort you spent to hide it has gone to waste. I've exposed all of the truth you hid with your death.
Is that what you've been after? You did all of this just to mock Claire's death? And then you showed it to Angie to make her suffer. You really were an evil witch after all.
I've been a witch the whole time. A traveler whose only goal is to escape boredom. Care for it and love it while it's alive, and then eat its guts when it's dead. That is how witches live.
I cannot forgive you for what you've done. You've hurt Angie and humiliated Claire, the person I would become in another world. I won't forgive you.
Leon, you're still Claire's hope, even after her death. From the moment Claire got thrown off that cliff, her fate was already sealed. I'm sure she felt a little bit of salvation to know that another her lives in happiness in another world.
That's right. I'm her salvation. So I must live life to the fullest for both of us.
So, maybe the wrong conclusion to reach from that. Leon, let me show you just a bit more of this tale of the truth, all right?
I'm not interested.
No, it'll be very interesting. After the duel between Eva and Kyrie, the guest house is wrapped in silence. Let me invite you into the parlor at that point in time.
The parlor? The one in the mansion?
Bernkastel snapped her fingers, and the scene of the mansion's parlor unfolded before them. In the cruel tale they had just been shown, the parlor hadn't been particularly important. Jessica had been summoned to the parlor, but she was then immediately led to the dining hall and killed there. So there hadn't been anything to see in the parlor. And in fact, there was nothing to see in the parlor now appearing before Leon.
Just what's supposed to be here?
As you can see, there's nothing here. Watch. I'm about to show you something very interesting.
If you call it interesting, that's a sure sign that it isn't.
Go on, take a look. It's right there. Right in that corner. Bernkastel was pointing at nothing more than a corner of the room. There was nothing there. She had told Leon to look there, so the latter was expecting something terrible to be there. But there really was nothing there at all.
Huh?
That's right. There's nothing there. At least not in this world. But what if we peek into the next fragment over, huh?
Huh?
Yoink. On the blank white wall, bit by bit, a splash of blood seeped into view. Then right there, a corpse appeared. That couldn't be.
This is... me?
It was Leon lying dead against the wall. Ushiromiya Leon's corpse lay there exposed.
What's going on here? Why am I here? This is supposed to be Claire's world, not mine. Claire and I can't exist at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's because I just switched worlds. I switched fragments. Switched to your world, that is.
I don't understand.
It's very simple. They both end the same way.
Whoa! I don't get it. Why should I be dead here?
In your world, on October 4th, 1986, Beatrice's funeral was held just before the family conference.
Yes, I know that. And for me, that happened today, a short while ago.
I wonder what'll happen between that time and late that night.
Nothing at all. The cousins will all play together and the whole family will have dinner together.
Then comes the family conference right after night falls. You were going to succeed the headship when you turned 20, right? Was the entire family satisfied with that, I wonder?
I don't know if they were satisfied, but the decision had been made. The head made it himself.
Looks like you don't even really believe that they were satisfied. That's it right there. Kinzo adored you more than anything, so he tried to make an exception and have you succeed the headship directly. Of course, his children wouldn't have been happy with that. The siblings objected to having Leon succeed the headship. Oh, wait, this is still Bernie. Even Kraus joined in, saying that Leon was still too young. And then on the night of the family conference, Kinzo tried proposing a difficult riddle.
Could it be?
That's right. The riddle of the epitaph. As you can tell by the mechanism set into the chapel, Kinzo thought up the epitaph trick near the beginning when the mansion on Rokkenjima was being built. He had the romantic idea of someday using it as a test to select his successor. Kinzo decided to present that riddle at the family conference. Did he plan to give the position of successor to the person who solved it, or did he promise to reconsider Leon's position as the successor if it was solved? Either way, Kinzo was confident. He was so confident that no one would be able to solve this tough riddle which he had created himself. After that, everything happened exactly like the truth you just saw. The siblings solved it right away, and there was a quarrel over the pile of gold. And then Kyrie and Rudolph decided to prevent any chance of the crime being discovered the next morning, and an outcry being raised by committing murder late that night. They used the phone to call the kids out of the cousin room one by one, and then they killed them. As the first of the cousins, you were the first to be called out, and then Kyrie shot you dead right here in the parlor. No, that's not quite right. You are the Ushiromiya Leon from the early evening of October 4th, 1986. So I'll say it this way. Tonight, Kyrie will shoot you dead in the parlor.
That's insane. That's right, probability. Just like Leon can be born from Claire thanks to a rare miracle. Aunt Kyrie only commits murder with a tiny probability, close to 0. That must be it. Aren't you the witch who specializes in finding extremely improbable worlds?
Yeah, that's correct. I had to find one fragment out of 2,578,917 in order to discover the miracle that is you. However, it was very, very easy to find this result for your world. After all, probability isn't a factor. I'm a witch who could find any miracle no matter how unlikely it is, but I can't find things that don't exist. If the Witch of Certainty really guarantees that something is certain, even I can't win against her.
But then I'm...
With a 2,578,916 out of 2,578,917 probability, you live in the world where you're Claire, get toyed with by an inescapable fate, and reach a tragic end. And with a 1 out of 2,578,917 probability, you live as Ushiromiya Leon and are killed by Kyrie tonight. In other words, your fate, no, the fate that you two share, traps you in an inescapable dead end, a hell of fate with a 2,578,917 out of 2,578,917 probability. To put it another way, it's a certain fate with absolutely no chance for a miracle. Sucks to be you, Claire. Or should I say, Beatrice.
Just when a bright light seemed to turn the world white, the scene suddenly changed back to the theater. On the stage, Bernkastel's Reaper sight slid across Claire's stomach as the latter stood absolutely still. A red line was drawn across the white skin, exposed now that the dress had been cut, and black blood began to seep out.
Beatrice, trapped in that inescapable, certain, locked-away pair of days, you became a witch who could give birth to endless possibilities within that 2-day cat box. In exchange, it was absolutely certain that you could not be saved nor rewarded. However, you had a dream. You dreamed of Ushiromiya Leon. You consoled yourself with the thought of a miracle world where you could have lived in happiness without ever becoming Claire. I had to work hard to find Leon. Just as Beato dreamed, Leon's existence is a true miracle. And at the end of your funeral, I wanted to show you that even with that miracle, you would never have escaped from tragedy.
Woo! Turns out, it wasn't a mystery or a magical fantasy story. After all, it was just a tragedy. Woo! Through the small crack between the bars of the jail that imprisoned her, the witch called Beatrice dreamed of a world where she might have been happy. However, the space she could see through that crack in the bars was just another part of the same jail. The more I hear, the less I understand about you. Why would you do something like this?
I lost a game to Beatrice, so I wanted to get back at her. Yeah, now I feel a lot better about losing that game. Hey, Beato. Beato, are you watching? Can you see this? And do you remember when I promised you that a miracle wouldn't occur with certainty? So, Leon, allow me to return you to your world, right before Beato's eyes. It looks like the theater-going witches are all sick and tired of those happy family get-together scenes. So I'll send you to the moment just before Kyrie shoots you. And then I'll make Beato watch that moment. Die, you scum, Leon. The last hope of that scum, Beato.
Bernkastel raised her Reaper scythe, swung it down with gusto, and plunged it deep into Claire's stomach.
Did you think you'd get an easy death? But humiliating and tearing out a corpse's guts is my specialty.
She took the blade end of the scythe and heartlessly, ruthlessly, brutally raised it up into the air. Along a vertical line from Claire's stomach to her chest, the blade cut deeply, slicing Claire open. The red-black insides jutted out, then burst like a dam breaking, covering the world with dark red entrails.
Steal the Italian gold, you say? You coward, Romeo. And you call yourself a soldier of the Empire.
Father, I do love and respect you, Father, but your feelings are something Who's talking?
Who do you think is stalking?
Why? Why did you save me? Why didn't you let me die? Because of that terrible injury, I've been forced to live in a body like this. I never wanted to live in a body like this. This body that isn't even capable of love. What's the point in living like that? This isn't a human's life. It's like being furniture. But that's right. I'm furniture. Furniture. Why? Why didn't you let me die back then? Huh? When I came to, I was in the parlor of the mansion. When did I get here? I heard a sound behind me, then slowly turned around, and there...
Sorry, please don't take this personally.
Huh? I could see down the frigid barrel of the gun Aunt Kyrie was pointing. Then she slowly pulled the trigger. I could feel a razor-sharp wind pass through my body, like a knife slicing through butter. Prepared for death and hoping to see my fate until the end, I slowly opened my eyes. The world had been cut in two. Kyrie was frozen in place like a statue, still pointing her gun with a cold smile on her face, and had been cut in half at an angle, the top part of her slowly sliding off to the side. No, that wasn't quite right. That wasn't right at all. It wasn't just Kyrie. The whole world had been sliced in half at an angle, and was slowly sliding off to one side. Then immediately after fissures seemed to appear across the world, it shattered.
Bros, 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 bros.
My himbo came back.
Always for you, bro.
Yeah.
Bump. How about those trauma nachos?
I'm gonna need like 10 plates. You.
When you own a cat, you tend to pick up their habits.
He pointed at Bernkastel with the tip of the pitch-black sword that had sliced the world, glaring at her.
What's this, huh? Are you saying you came back here on a whim? There was no way you'd end things on a happy note. Do you really hate Beatrice so much? You think I'd let her win and get away? I have to pay her back in full for the humiliation she caused me. When I hold a grudge, a mere century isn't long enough for me to forget it. You're a gloomy person, aren't you? Oh, come on now. You mustn't neglect my heart. Are you okay, Leon? Hey, what's wrong?
Leon suddenly doubled over, groaning. My chest hurts. It's... Will roughly grabbed the hand that was pressed against Leon's chest and tore it away. Blood was seeping out from where Leon's hand had been. It was the place that the bullet would have entered if Kyrie had shot Leon.
Looks like Leon's body is almost ready to accept its fate. Leon, hang in there! Damn these chains!
When Will tried to pick Leon's body up, he finally noticed the chains attached to each wrist and ankle.
What's this? You trying to take that kid and escape? I won't let you. I'm about to let everyone watch as Leon coughs up blood, despairing at the fact that there's no hope in any of the many worlds, before finally dying in agony. Leon isn't a show. Leon is my bro.
Will swung his pitch-black sword and destroyed the chains binding Leon. The chains and shackles shattered into little bits like glass, then vanished.
You intend to get in the way of my fun? You aren't God. All you can do is sneer at fate. Leon's fate is going to be decided by Leon. You can't treat a human's fate like a toy. Oh, can't I? You've got guts saying that to the great Bernkastel, witch of the Senate. I've got no more use for you either. You get it? You've shown that Beato's fantasy is a mystery and cut it to pieces. You fulfilled your role. I would have let you be if only you just left quietly. And now that you strolled back in here, you can hardly complain if I make you my plaything. Come to me, my cute kitties. Scratch them up and tear off their skin. Peel them all like grapes.
When Bernkastel clapped her hands twice, countless pairs of glaring jewels appeared all around Will and Leon. They were clearly cat eyes, but the way the drool hung from their mouths looked far more terrifying than any cat. Will...
I'll handle this. Trimming kitty nails is nothing new to me. You just focus on those trauchos, alright?
The number of jewels surrounding them already reached into the thousands. Will pointed his sword in one direction after another, warding off the surrounding cats.
Get a grip, Leon. You haven't been shot. Don't acknowledge that you're gonna be shot.
Leon tried to fight an incredible tearing pain. No, it was a fight against the promised future that Bernkastel had shown. However, the stake of that future, which the Witch of Miracles had guaranteed would contain no miracle, was firm and merciless. Bit by bit, and yet unceasingly, it continued to pierce into Leon's chest.
Listen up. I'm gonna break through the perimeter for just a second. When I do, you need to run with all you've got. Doesn't matter where. Just make sure you get far away from this place. And keep on running no matter what happens.
I'll try, to the best of my ability. If I can't do it, please forgive me.
If you can't do it, enough whining. I won't forgive you, and neither will Claire. Did you forget that your Claire's 1 in 2,578,917 chance? If you give up, you're betraying all the other yous in countless worlds. So don't lose heart. Keep on struggling and struggling. Don't look for a miracle. Be one. Just focus on the delicious cheesy taste of nachos.
Be a miracle.
You're gonna reach a happy future. Don't give up and don't complain. Just you try complaining again. This time I'll pinch your ass.
Okay. You promise?
What? I don't have time to unpack all that. How very confident you are, telling this kid to be a miracle when you stand before the Witch of Miracles. Miracles are no more than a fantasy. Grovel in this world that has been convicted as a mystery, and then die horribly like a worm. The witches of theater going are looking forward to watching it. Huh. Call that mystery? Think I'd ever accept a mystery without heart? Let the cat who wants to be made into a shamisen strike first. Oh, what a pain. Let's have all of you at once. I'm Willard H. Wright, SSVD's head inquisitor of heresy. This will be the final time I draw my sword. Fuck, and I was 2 weeks from retirement. Trash him, kiddies.
At once, all of the cat eyes opened wide, undulating and spinning in a spiral, then swallowed Will up. But Will and Leon weren't swallowed up. The cats that had flown in at them from all directions were now being launched away, like they were a balloon popping around the pair.
Oh, not bad. I don't give a damn about your kitties. It's just the mama cat that I care about. Bernkastel, Witch of Miracles, it's about time someone trimmed your claws.
Another flash of the black blade spun in a dark tornado and scattered the cats once more. Leon, realizing that this was the opening Will had planned, ran all out, still clutching at a heaving chest. Will, I'm running.
Diana's a weak stomach. Make sure you only give her milk that's warm, alright?
Huh?
And by the way, I lied about the nachos.
No. By the time Leon asked Will to repeat what he had said, he had already leapt onto the stage and was now confronting Bernkastel. It was like the climax of a show. Loud cheers erupted from the pitch-black audience seating. On either side of Claire, who lay with her insides exposed, stood Will with his pitch-black sword, and Bernkastel with the scythe that could harvest miracles from fate.
Kyrie and Rudolph are the culprits, and they massacred all the people on the island. They called Leon out to the parlor, then shot Leon to death. Sorry, but I can't acknowledge this truth of yours as a mystery. This is all fantasy.
Fantasy. You're calling it that to try and let Leon escape fate? By all means, try.
Rule number 1. It's forbidden to have a crime without all clues presented.
Surely, Will's black sword must have cut through Bernkastel's body. However, it had no effect, like cutting the reflection of the moon on the water.
What is this? What do you mean by clues?
I won't accept your mystery with Kyrie and Rudolph as the culprits. You won't find clues showing that they're the culprits no matter which game you look at.
Of course you won't. Even if they did exist at one point, the whole island blew up, right?
Which means there aren't any clues, right? And that means this is no mystery. It's just fantasy.
It's an interesting argument.
Yeah.
That just because it has the trappings of a more grounded story, right? It doesn't necessarily qualify as a mystery. In the sense that, like, if you don't have, like, the important parts that are needed to, solve a mystery, then can you really call it that?
Yeah.
Maybe a thriller, but... It's impossible. Oh, yeah.
Is it still Leon? I can't remember by this point.
Well, regardless, you
Okay.
can do the narration.
It's impossible for an unprovable truth to become truth in the human world. In other words, even the actual truth cannot cross the boundary of a cat box.
Are you trying to shut the truth inside of the cat box? Oh, is this how the mystery genre is supposed to fight?
With a laugh like the howl of a wild animal, Bernkastel carelessly tossed her scythe aside.
Fighting itself is a waste of time. Get over here, scum. Try and cut me all you like. I'll listen to all you've got to say.
The 20 wedges will pierce every part of your heartless mystery. Here it comes.
And when you realize that you can't defeat me with those 20 wedges, then you know what'll happen next, right? Come on. I'll play with you if that's what you want.
Ah! Ow! Why did everything explode?
All right.
Gotta love coming back into recordings and just having 2 minutes and then hitting the credit roll. God, we were right at the 2-hour mark on that last
I
one.
was so certain that there was not enough time, and there maybe would have been, or maybe
There would have been
not.
enough time to get us to the end of the credit, to the beginning of the credit roll.
But probably not through the credits rolling.
Well, no, not with audio. I just would, yeah, but yeah, still. Oh, still. Damn, that was a meaty tea party.
Yeah.
I really hope the
Yo, that was me, Leon, I'm on the thing. Yeah!
Was I on the thing?
I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. I thought you'd be looking for yourself. I didn't know. Sorry, bro. What are you doing here, bro? You got to keep going, bro. Bro, you got to get to the chopper, bro. What a good game this is.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess that means it's time for the tea party of...
Or the post-credits.
Or post-credits, right. Trying to ignore an incredible pain in the chest, Leon kept on running and running without stopping.
I dashed out of the theater-going witches, then ran through an incomprehensible world of blackness. Before I knew it, I was running through a place that looked like a sea of stars, or maybe the bottom of the ocean with stars scattered around. If I get careless for a second, I'll probably trip. No, if I get careless, I won't be able to tell if I'm running, or just making running motions as I freefall, endlessly sinking deeper into the ocean of stars. I just kept on running, without any goal or target. I mustn't stop moving. I mustn't fall down here. If I fall, I'll crush the hope of the me's in countless worlds. There's a happy world that the Beatrices dreamed of. Beatrocities dreamed of. Sorry, I forgot my own plural.
I thought, it's not Beatrices, it's... Beatrocities. I like that one. Okay.
And I'm their last hope, the only one who can reach that world. Even though I understand this, the truth thrust in front of me by the witch who controls miracles, who says there can be no miracle, is cruelly gouging itself into my chest. Sorry, Will. My body's already...
And then Leon finally succumbed to the fierce pain and fate, and fell over. Nope! I promise you trauma nachos, and by God, we're having them. Leon's body was held roughly from behind and lifted up.
Will, you're okay.
No, not really. Don't you give up. Didn't I tell you I'd pinch your ass?
Sorry, I'm really sorry, but on that day in that place, I was fated to be killed.
That's right. All humans are fated to die in the end. Does that mean their lives are meaningless? Of course not. What a person's life means and what it's worth, what it is. These are things each person decides for themselves, no matter what sort of fate is forced upon them. Don't accept it. Create your own world for yourself.
Will, your left arm...
That's all right, I'm a righty anyway. I must have left it there by accident, my bad. It'd be a pain to go back and get it now. You know, it's just like, I could go back for it, but like, is it really worth it?
Tuesdays, am I right?
Yeah. There were rips all over Will's body. Also, his left arm had been brutally torn off from the elbow, and his clothes were in tatters, and he looked like a bloodstained scarecrow. Then Leon noticed. Though this place had once felt like a sea filled with stars both above and below them, those stars had now gathered together and were surrounding them. It was huge, even number of stars, all glaring at the two of them. Will was holding Leon with one arm. He couldn't take his sword out. However, he didn't let go. He was determined to let Leon escape from here, to lead Leon toward the happy tale that the Beatrocities had dreamed of. Behind the cats whose eyes glowed out of the empty darkness, the queen of cats who permitted no miracles appeared. Willard, put Leon down. If you do, I'll let you go. Go file a protest with the Great Court. You can put it up for debate if you want.
Will,
Shh. Won't leave you behind, bro. I need to tell you something. To tell you why I quit the SSVD. Come to think of it, even I don't know that. Why did you do it? It's because I got fed up with all those damn sob story mysteries. We'll survive and reach a happy ending. I'll show her. Beatrice died in despair, thinking that there were only bad endings. I'll show her that a happy ending can exist. That's why I'll never put you down.
Will.
I'll never run around and desert you, Leon.
That's the nicest thing I've ever heard.
Isn't it, though? Don't worry, bro. I'm never going to make you cry.
Thank
I'll
you.
never, ever say goodbye.
Someone should write a song about that if it's not out already.
Yeah. It'd be mid-tier at best. You could take the rest of my left arm, cats. I'll give you my legs too if you want them. But I'm not letting go of Leon here. I'll take Leon away from the bad ending you represent, even if I have to crawl my way out of here.
Are you okay with this, Leon? Will's planning to die protecting you. You don't want that, right? Go ahead to tell him to leave you be and save himself.
Will.
Shush. Yeah.
Please, don't leave me here. I'll certainly survive, and so will you.
That's the spirit.
As he said this, Will held Leon tight.
There you have it. We'll keep struggling on, Bernkastel.
We won't give up on the chance of a miracle.
You're saying that when the Witch of Miracles has promised you with certainty that there will be none? So long, gay Bowsers. Go collect dust in the depths of oblivion, unable to die in despair. Come, my kitties. I won't order you to kill them. Just, clean up two pieces whose role has ended. 100 million, a trillion, 10 quadrillion. There's the 10 quadrillion again. Cats all bared their fangs. The starry sky of cat eyes, countless flesh-colored mouths open, exposing countless teeth.
Hey, Will, well, at least you like cats, right? Like,
I was holding on to her for a friend.
oh well.
The world was wrapped in flesh and blood and fangs.
It's gonna get all over the nachos, isn't it? Is this salsa or... I'm taking my chances. Up. Bad call. Bad call.
Oh, can't believe there's only 10 minutes left of that. Still. Let's go ahead and do the tea party, those are not human, and then the tips.
Yeah. Interesting that the tea party of those who are human this time had a bunch of Will and Bernkastel and a lot of very much
Not human. Yeah.
people. And Leon, who is human but isn't present in most of these.
It's kind of confusing, ain't it?
Two white pieces were set on the chessboard. The countless black pieces surrounding them were now just packed together, not even placed on the squares. Bernkastel tipped the two white pieces over
Ow.
and took them off the board. Is it really okay to end it like this? Yes, as usual, your reading truly does fall comfortably on my ears, my Miko. As you wished, I've scraped out even the inner parts of the guts. Was that enough of an answer check for you? Indeed, I am quite satisfied. Using the answer you have revealed as a key, I will go back through the tales so far, opening the closed rooms like treasure boxes one by one. It is fun finding the key, and it is even more fun to stick it in all of the locks. You have done very well, my Miko. From now on, let me enjoy my thoughts alone. This has been enough. The Witch of Theater-going sat back in her rocking chair, a satisfied smile on her face, as though enjoying a pleasant aftertaste. There was no need for a game board anymore. She just had to go back in her mind through the whole set of tales to check whether her theory was right or not. It seemed to leave her pleasantly drunk, even better than the most expensive wine. Are you done with me now? You have done well, my Miko. I absolve you of your duty. I will return to my slumber. I'd like to enjoy this pleasant dream for a few more centuries. And when I grow tired of that, you will find yet another tale to keep me entertained. For those centuries which will pass in the blink of an eye, I grant you your freedom.
Well, splendidly done, Bernkastel, my cute, cute Miko. I mean, it's not like I care or anything. It's not like I care what you think or anything. You think I'm cute though? Go ahead, dry up and die. So long for the rest of time. You call a few mere centuries for the rest of time. Ah. Featherine's consciousness slowly faded away. As the owner of the study's slumber grew deeper, the lights about the room slowly darkened. Good night forever, Aurora. You don't need this game board anymore, right? I'll just take this real quick. Bring it over to my next game night. In between Risk and maybe Catan or something. Bernkastel reached out towards Beato's game board, which lay on the table in front of Featherine's rocking chair, and tapped it twice. The game board and the pieces flew into the air, folded themselves up, and put themselves away, then landed on Bernkastel's outstretched right hand. I still haven't had a chance to do any real game mastering yet, have I? I just did Beato's funeral. That and tearing out the guts. I still haven't done anything. Bernkastel's smile twisted evilly. And then the game board floated up once again, and a world unfolded itself above Bernkastel's palm. Everyone gets to make a game but me. I'll show them. Hey, pieces of Beato's game. Knock knock, motherfuckers. I'm gonna have you spin an incredibly brutal tale that I'll find incredibly entertaining. That cool? Tremble in fear of the certain fate you've been promised, alright. By the name of Bernkastel, Witch of Miracles. And as the final game master of Beato's game, I proclaim it. Though just saying it would kind of be boring now, wouldn't it? Maybe I should follow Beato's rules and say it in red.
Are you sure?
Where the fuck did you come from? Oh, fuck. I thought I...
right behind you.
I thought I was a... Shit. Is it too late to, go back on the whole doing a game board thing? And do we have...
I love board game night.
What if I just want to play board games alone for a little couple centuries? Is that... I need some alone time. Is that fine?
It's okay. I can just stand over here. Watching.
Oh, okay, this is not...
Always watching.
Okay, well... I see how this is going to end.
And breathing heavily.
You can get a respirator for that.
There might still be some witches with naive hopes.
Oh, Lambda. So you're here as well? Of course. You're always wherever I am for some reason I can't seem to figure out.
Go on and say it. You tell those naive dreamers.
Yeah, I will. As the Witch of Miracles, and as the final game master, I proclaim the start of the final game, and make you this promise. I won't give this game a happy ending. Anyway, real quick, one of us has to go to the store and get more Mountain Dew. We're kind of out. You can't do game night without. I'm saying you got to go to the store, Lam. I wasn't gonna ask you directly, but you were supposed to volunteer and you didn't, so. So we're gonna need you to, just real quick.
You're not gonna run off, are you? I'll know.
Someone's sobbing. A single girl was crying in a desolate, quiet chapel. She was a small girl, only 6 years old. The girl who would for 12 years starting now lament the fact that she wasn't on this island during October 4th and 5th, 1986. Tiny Angie? Tiny Angie Sprite? And then, a single man appeared. The man noticed the girl, walked up to her quietly, trying not to scare her, and put his arms gently around her shoulders.
Oni-chan.
Oh, hello. I've been looking for you, Angie. The girl jumped into her big brother's chest and started crying again. Oh, what's wrong? Why are you so sad?
Today, a kid in class bullied me. He said the people on TV were saying Mom had ties to bad people. So he said that Mom and Dad were the culprits and that they probably killed everyone. I asked Aunt Eva, hoping she'd say it wasn't true, but she didn't say anything. Mom and Dad aren't bad people, right? Right?
Poor kid. Everyone keeps saying whatever they like about what might have happened on that island that day. So sit over here, all right?
Okay.
When the man pointed to the floor, a cloud of gold butterflies gathered there and created a chair. The girl obediently sat down on it.
You know, don't you, Oni-chan? You know that Mom and Dad aren't bad people, right?
Yeah, of course I know that. I know that none of them were bad people.
This is my knowing that they are not bad people and telling the truth about it face.
Exactly. I'm definitely not lying to make a small child feel better.
Then tell me, what happened that day? What happened on Rokkenjima?
Okay. I'll tell you. This is what happened on that day.
Is it a scary story?
Of course not.
Is it a sad story?
Not at all.
Then what kind of story is it?
Well, you can decide that for yourself once you hear it. It definitely isn't a painful story. So, listen up.
Okay. Battler Oni-chan.
On that day, we all went to Rokkenjima. There were a lot of us. It was an important day, the day of the family conference, after all. Where should I begin? This is the final game, made just for Angie. Listen, Angie, this is what happened on Rokkenjima that day. It isn't sad or painful at all.
So, I floated the idea that maybe Chapter 8 would be a battle for the end of the game, and whether it gets a horrible ending or one with some hope. And I'm wondering if this is the setup for that.
Maybe.
Because it seems like Battler here would really like it to not be a horrible ending for Angie's sake. And
Right.
it sure seems like Bernkastel is promising, nope, this is gonna suck for y'all.
Huh. I don't know what to expect. I do like the idea that Battler is like, yeah, I do think it's not unreasonable to think Battler is just telling Angie a comforting lie here.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what she kind of needs to hear to be okay again.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at that point, telling her like the brutal truth, at least what Bernkastel so far has asserted is the brutal truth, right, isn't really going to help with what she needs. I don't really think she needs to hear the truth. She just needs to hear that it could have been okay. Right? Because Angie of 1998 is never going to know.
Yep.
Angie of 1998 jumped off a skyscraper, right? That ship has kind of sailed at this point. It's more that just to let her find some measure of peace, right? Just knowing that things could have been okay.
Yep.
Despite how they turned out. Good job, Bit and Kana. And you, GML, and 5PB.
Oh, what a game.
Yeah.
We still gotta check out the tips once this is through.
Oh, yeah, we were going to check out the tips. Don't worry. I'm amazed that they're actually going to go for a final game board like this. I thought the 8th chapter would have been a very marked departure, but maybe it still will be.
I thought the 8th chapter would have been basically like this one, which was the 7th, so
Right.
I don't know. I don't know where we're going.
We just got a gift in commemoration of our stay. These features will be
Hey.
on the title screen.
Is that a new portrait?
It is.
Is the gift the tips, probably?
Oh, hello. That's me. You can't get rid of me no matter what you do. So these are all ones we've seen all of these ones, right?
Is there an execute for Leon now? That's nice. There isn't one.
Not one for Eva. There's no executes. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but yeah, there is no execute option.
Yeah. Huh.
Hey, that's me. Sup, bitch.
Oh, wizard hunting right.
Oh my god, it really was a few days before retirement. Oh, that's great.
It's always a few days before retirement.
Right. I don't think there's anything different from what we saw last time.
Yeah, let's check the tips. Did we see the SSVD thing?
The SSVD is one of the repentance enforcement agencies under the direct supervision of the Great Court of Heaven, responsible for the 8th District. It has a long history, even among the other enforcement agencies, and is known for its strict and fundamentalist attitude. Many say that they do not keep up with the times, but they are also highly praised by some for continuing to preserve the basis of the law's spirit to this very day. It is traditional for their head inquisitor of heresy to inherit the name Right.
Huh.
Hey, Nick, look, we can be in this game too.
Maya, I'm not sure I would like to be in this game.
Oh, are you sure? It seems a lot more interesting than the one we're in. Because, I mean, especially with all those clowns and stuff. Ugh.
Oh. So yeah, I guess there's not. I mean, someone in the comments will let us know, like, oh, you didn't check this tip, and there's something cool there, and we'll.
Yeah, there totally will be. Oh, wait, have we seen this?
Beatrice Castiglione?
Have we seen the tips for
I don't think so.
original Beato?
I don't know. Go for it.
I'm Beatrice Castiglione. I'm an Italian. My father was a high official in the RSI. I'm a light-hearted woman who did not lose that personality even after living a long time in a submarine. Since I was the only one of the Italians who could speak English, I began to form a close relationship with Kinzo, who was the only Japanese person who could speak that language. Kinzo recounts how he learned of love for the first time upon meeting me. It was a meeting that drastically changed his fate and that of Rokkenjima. Does anybody else have a change button?
I'm looking now. Doesn't look like it.
These
Wait.
ones do. Oh my god!
Oh, also look, their icon changed too.
Sure did. Oh, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory.
Aww, look at how happy they are. Yeah, all right. All right.
Does Kinzo have a change option?
That is a great question.
He does.
There is no
tiny
version for
Kinzo.
earlier Kinzo now, okay. Apparently not.
Oh. Murder
Was this the
mom.
face of someone that would murder a bunch of folks? Is that the face of someone who would murder a whole bunch of... I don't think so. Anyway, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will probably be edited on top of another episode, but I guess we'll see you all on EP8, huh?
Yeah.
I genuinely don't like... I was ready to believe Bernie that the version she was showing there was indeed what happened. But I guess we never did get that in red, did we?
We got
And, like,
something in red. but-
And she's talking about being... She explicitly talked about being the game master of the 8th board. Which, you know, makes me doubt it's like what it's setting out to do. But certainly the way the characters are characterized in Bernie's version there at the end will probably inform what we think of them going forward.
yeah.
Because Eva, we always... the game straight up tells you Eva's got the capacity to murder some folks. Like, we've known that since Chapter 3 at the latest.
Mhm.
But we've always known something sus about Kyrie, but we can never really pin down what it was.
Turns out she just loves murder.
Yeah, turns out she will just murder some folks. All right. Good on you, I suppose.
You're saying I'll also get money for it.
Folks
What
hate
a
to see a girl
bonus.
boss winning. Right? That I can only imagine. Anyway, goodbye.
Bye.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.